Xbox, Record This is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, Xbox, and the good old days. If you'd like to find out more, head to xboxrecordthis.com. Oh, hello. Daddy Diwali here, and welcome to episode 3 of Xbox Record This. And I'm joined, as potentially always, with the assistant to the co-host, Mr. Chipobear. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Diwali. Thank you for having me again. It was great to be here last time and thrilled to continue at least until you find someone better.
Correct. This is a continuation. I invited you back for the second interview, so it's not official for those of you out there who would still like to apply for the show. Just so you know, Chipobear, like he said, he's just filling in right now. So Chipobear, we've got a lot to cover, and we're gonna look at. I'm just gonna get right into it because I do kind of want to get some feedback from you. I do want to give a shout out and a thank you to everybody who's been listening. Chipobear, we've got crazy numbers, okay? We are growing.
Love it.
And I wanted to share some numbers with you. We have new listeners in Denmark, Canada, Slovakia, in addition to Germany, Hungary, and Austria. We are going global on this show. But 90% of our listeners are in the United States, and 100% are male. But
it sounds like that list of countries was like also the same list of countries of people who were asking for your credit card on Facebook. So you better just be a little careful.
Or we're getting more bot listeners. Even the bots follow me from Twitch over to Apple Podcasts. So thank you. But looking at this though, the majority are Apple Podcasts. Do you know what Overcast is?
That's what I use. That's my podcast listener is Overcast.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
That's dope.
Then
Marco
Spotify.
Arment. Shout out to ATP and Marco Arment. He writes the program for it. He's awesome.
Okay, so maybe I'll have to check that out. And then other is listed. But I just wanted to share those numbers with you. So thank you for everybody who's listening. We've actually gotten a lot of feedback, so we're going to get into that a little bit. So some of the random questions I had for you, Chipo, and I wrote them down on my Google Keep. Oh, great. You probably heard that. My Google Keep notes, because I don't use Apple Notes because I'm dumb. So here this. I wanted to ask you, Chipobear. Last episode, you said we are middle-aged. Are we?
Yes.
I just want to get some clarification.
I mean,
you think this is middle-aged?
We're old. I just said we're middle-aged. Literally, like, what, you're 37? 36? I'm 36.
36, thank you.
Okay.
Almost,
well,
but yes, in my mind, I do say 37. You keep complaining that you had lived in a
better year than I did, which implies that you're older. I just want to throw that out. No, I mean, not in the. I don't want to say we're the middle of our life, as in we're not going to make it past 70. But I mean, like, think about it. Like, we have careers, we have children, we have mortgages, right? We're definitely not in our 20s. We're definitely not, just in the early stages of careers. Like, we are deep in it. That's why, like, midlife crisis. Let's start a podcast that all of our friends listen to because it's, we're hilarious and good looking and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to have to look up what the definition of middle-aged is because I was under the impression that's like, for some reason I associate like late 40s, 50s or something. But you're telling me we're middle-aged, so I'm scared now.
I would say we're on the,
so
we're on
I
the,
just
we're
wanted
on
to
the
clarify.
front end, the front end of middle-aged.
We're young, very, still cool. And,
I didn't say we weren't cool. You're not cool. I'm cool.
Parents. Actually, Chipobear, I took a video. I don't know if you saw my tweet of me dunking. I dunked a basketball for the first time, and I couldn't even tell you. It's probably been over a year at least. So I was pretty pumped about that, Chipobear. So
how much did your back hurt
I may be
afterwards?
36, but I still got game. All right, I just wanted to.
How much did your back hurt afterwards?
You know what? It's funny you say that. My back doesn't hurt at all. My right heel has been killing me lately, and I don't know. I think it's because
you Achilles. Is that what you are? You're a Greek god.
I'm trying to think. Like, is it because I was shooting basketball a lot this past week on the concrete? I'm like, oh God, is that? Anyway, it's funny. Okay, well, we're not middle. We're just gonna close this. We're not middle
Fair
aged.
enough.
We're young, active adults, young, active parents, and we're on the cusp of the golden years, if you will. Okay, so that was the first question I wanted to ask you. Chipobear, could you do me a favor? Can you turn up that gain a little bit? I'm seeing the input on this whatever this program is, and you can turn it up a little bit.
All right, how's that
Why
look?
don't you give me
Too much?
Ooh, okay, yeah, that's bet. That's good. That's good. What are we at? What
We're at
percentage?
50 right there.
Okay, guys, this is inside scoop here. So here's the audio. My next question for you, Chipobear, is what do you think about the show structure? Should we mix it up? What do you think our audience likes best? And then I put a question mark after PTI model. So I don't know if you've heard of PTI.
Oh yeah, pardon the interruption, for sure.
Yes. Okay. So they're, like I said, I mentioned in the first episode or the introduction episode, like they're like I've been watching PTI since high school, which is crazy to think about. But so they basically start with they briefly go through the news and they go through it very quickly at the beginning. And then they kind of dig deep when they come back after that first break on a couple of items. Or no.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Or they do like a skit. They do some random stuff. And then they close off with like a real rapid fire of like random stuff. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think of our structure, and would you change anything? Like, I'm just open to hear some feedback on that, because like, what do you think our strengths are, weaknesses, stuff like that, and what do you think audience would?
I mean, I like the structure. I mean, I think an important aspect of the podcast that I regularly listen to are that there are those consistent features or topics. You know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of the welcome, viewer questions or feedback. Then we get into some news. Usually there's kind of a question of the week. I like that there's structure and that people know what to look for or listen for, especially when you talk about contributions, right? So like another example, totally unrelated, but a podcast I listen to about cooking, Jeff Morrow from the Food Network, he does sections where he goes to Instagram and he asks his Instagram followers for questions. And like my wife was actually featured on there. And so like when that happened, like I knew like exactly where to look in the episode for that, so I could hear him read her questions. So I really like the structure. I mean, I think it also gives flexibility to say like, within those sections, you can go lots of different ways where we can get nostalgic or we can talk about specific games or specific hot issues in there. So I think the structure is good. I mean, I just think people know what to expect. And if for some reason there's a part of the show that people really like, they're not searching for it. They know that it's at the beginning or the middle or the end. I think that's just my preference. But I'm an A-type kind of guy. Like I like structure and rules and that kind of stuff. So
me too.
That's why.
Me too. Okay. So if anyone's listening... all our viewers out there, please give us some feedback. You can always follow or reach us at xboxrecordthis@gmail.com. Give us some feedback, if you will, on the structure. I do kind of like it, and we'll stick with it for now, but I'm open to anything, and I just wanted to see how you felt on that. The next thing I wanted a little bit of housekeeping here at Chipo, is I have the official, I'm calling it Daddy Diwali game rating system. I'm changing executive decision to XRT game rating system. So whenever we rate games or have to give a ranking, this is our scale.
Yeah, I was like, what's our scale? We got to add a something.
This is our scale. Okay, do you want to go 0 to 10 or 10 to 0? What do you want to hear? How do you want to hear this?
I mean, I think 10 is your max score, right? Unless we're listing something, so then it's like number one is your number one choice.
Yeah, I'm going to go 10 down to 0. That's what I'm going to do right here. And give you the description, okay? So 10 is called a masterpiece. Perfect game. Very rare. A masterpiece. Okay. Not necessarily the best, like it's perfect in every way. It's just an incredible, it's a great game. Okay. Masterpiece. 9, incredible game. Sorry, I said incredible that last sentence. I take that back. 9 is an incredible game. Incredible. 10 is a masterpiece. Okay. So this is like almost a masterpiece. Not quite. Okay. 8, great game. It's a great game. 8, great. 8, great. 7, good game.
Okay.
Good game. 6, okay. That was okay. 6, that's okay. That's not bad. It's okay. Okay. It's like 6, if you've got, 6, I'm not going to finish that. Anyway, we got to keep this PG-13. 5, not a bad game, but not a good one.
Like it
not
exists.
Bad,
it was a thing,
but not good.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to go meh, But like, so I'd give a 5 to recently
Got it.
Generation Zero, which I still have to make it. Guys, I'm so sorry. I have so many clips I want to post. This takes a lot more work than
It's
you
also hard
think.
to do
So
on vacation
it's
mobile.
coming. Exactly. Exactly. I promise the clips will come and the review will come for that. So that game wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. You know, like that's a 5. 4. This is what we call a weak game. Okay, weak. 4 is a weak game. And then this is where it gets interesting. 3, 3 is a bad game.
Okay, so
That's
3 is our first
bad.
bad.
2, 3 is
Okay.
the first bad. If we're raking at a 3, bad game. 2, a waste of a game. Like it just worse than bad. It's you could have made anything else. You wasted your time on this. It's a waste of a game. And then we go down to 1, not number 1, down to 1. This is what we call a
Yeah, hot
caca
garbage.
game. Just hot garbage, hot steaming caca in the depths of your belly coming out. Okay, and then number a 0 out of 10. Like I hope we never have to give this Chipobear. Like this would be bad. This is what we call a hideous as sin game. Okay, hideous as sin. So again, this is the new XRT
Okay.
official ranking
Okay.
system. I want everyone to provide some feedback.
We're gonna need
for
to
that.
add that to our notes just so I have
And
reference of that at some point, like at the bottom of every end.
yes, I'll make sure and you know what, I'm going to post that on our website. Speaking of, if things continue to go well, of course you're going to be added to the website too. Of course, but you're still, but it will always say
That's fine.
assistant to the co-host.
You gotta give me time. I gotta lose some
Chipobear.
weight. It's fine.
Exactly. Okay. And then, so I wanted to share the rating scale. That was the next thing I wanted to give you. And then this is just a little random, a comment from my wife. Allie said, I was explaining to her tonight that I'm like, yeah, we got to record the podcast. We got to keep it consistent. We got to get that release on Mondays. You know, that's a big thing to me. And she's like, oh, that's nice. And she said, I appreciate you following your dreams, and a strange smiley face look. And then she followed that up with, maybe you'll get some pity donations for your podcast.
I mean, I would take pity donations. I mean, I'm not above that.
I just want to get your thoughts on, was she being like genuine and being like, hey, go get him, husband, or was she mocking
No, I
me?
think she was supporting you. I mean, here's how I would phrase it. So Victoria watch YouTube a lot because we can do it on our Apple TV and stuff, and we joke sometimes.
You can also do that on your Xbox.
I know, but she
too. I just
would
wanna
much
point that out.
rather use the remote instead of the Xbox controller. But we talk about how like a lot of the ones we watch that are actually pretty well produced, we could do that. Like we do homeowner stuff. Like
Oh no, Chipo,
yeah, I'm here.
Are you there?
Good?
Okay.
We do. We could
yeah,
arguably
we're good.
do what those people are doing, and like I have a background in film, like I have the equipment, like I could totally make and edit those videos, but we just never do. It's more kind of like, oh, we could do this, and then we just go to bed. You know, I think that your wife is admiring. I admire, right? That you're like, you know what? Let's give this a legitimate shot and have fun, and at the very least, if it's mostly our friends and a couple random countries that pick up on the podcast, like it's awesome. You know, like it's just something people, if just one
Yeah.
person laughs or smiles or enjoys, like that's really all we're in it for right at this point. And on the opposite end, if it blows up, right, and in 5 years, you know, like we're sponsored in every episode, and
Yeah, we got Phil Spencer on the stream.
like hot
you
takes
know?
I'm here in my basement with Phil Spencer, like
show.
that'd be dope, man. That could be what it comes. So I think she's supporting you. I think Allie is doing what she can as much as she can for sure.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Chipobear. And I do like your comment about if one person smiles about it, because it made me smile when Rock Quarry said, listening to it, he's like, this just makes me want to play video games.
what it's all
I'm
about.
like, yes, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Like I want to play video games too. Like, yeah, no, so it's awesome. And as long as you guys are smiling and having fun, that's all we can ask for. So the last thing, Chipobear, now this is exciting news. This is going to
Great.
blow your mind. Okay. This, you can't even be ready for this. And this is not anything related to Xbox. This is some deep Chipobear and D-Wally lore right here, guys. Chipobear, I wanted to share with you, in Pennsylvania and wherever Sheetz are around, the McSnack wrap
What?
lives on, my friend. And it is incredible,
wait.
Chipobear. I had
How
snack
did you
wraps today.
like the McDonald's there have them?
No, they're not McDonald's. They're called. It's okay. So there's this gas station called
Okay.
Sheetz out here, but it's like high. It's like 7-Eleven, but with their own high quality fast
Oh.
food,
Okay.
like
Okay.
Sonic
Yeah,
style.
definitely not a Colorado thing.
And it's called no, and it's called Made or it's like very famous out here as Sheetz and Wawa.
Okay.
It's like it's an East Coast thing, and so you I gotta describe it to you because this was incredible. So you go in and it's like a very like clean, awesome convenience store, right? All kinds of snacks, you can get whatever, right? And then there's only one line where you pay for stuff, right? On one side is the convenience store, then on the other is these tablets where you order your food. And literally, Chipobear, I couldn't even name everything. Like there's burgers, there's these sandwiches, there's appetizers, there's all kinds of stuff. And I'm digging through, right? What do I see? They're called snack wraps
With a Z. Is it two Z's?
and sliders. Yeah, there's like a Z in there or something. And I was like, oh my god, that the mixed snack wrap is here. They knew how the snack wraps were just this
Oh my
incredible
God.
gold item, like their
I
golden
still dream
ticket
about 'em.
to the fast food world. So what's really cool is that literally anything you pick, you like physically have to pick what's going to be on it. And it's just like it's overwhelming. Like there's so much you can choose. All these different sauces, all these different condiments, like all these different meats, bacon, cheese, 50 different cheeses. It's insane, dude. Like literally everything you pick is made to how you want it. And so I picked. First I did a chicken one with their jalapeno ranch and I picked like a pepper jack cheese and I wanted lettuce and onion, but they didn't have any lettuce, of course. They were out of shredded lettuce there. So still delicious, incredible. And then I got a slider with bacon, cheese, onions. Amazing. Like they're like these awesome thick patties, Chipobear. And then I was like, I need to
Yep.
get the mixed snack wrap.
Yep.
Burger patty. Here's the one negative. They literally just put like the big burger patty that from the sliders in there. They don't like slice it up at all or cut it in half or whatever. But dude, the quality of these burgers were amazing. Like they give you like these thick, juicy burgers, and I put it was called Boom Boom sauce, and it was like this spicy, like I don't know what it was, and I put onions on there. Of course, they didn't have lettuce, but I put the onions and cheese.
Oh my
Chipotle.
God, that makes me so excited.
I'm telling you,
I'm gonna
man,
have to
you
just
got to get yourself out to the East Coast. It was incredible, dude. Like it blew my mind. And I had already heard of like Allie mentioned Sheetz before. It's like, oh, that's where people go when they're drunk
sounds
and
great.
you know they pick out and stuff. But I had heard it before on YouTube and I think regular car reviews. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He does these funny reviews on YouTube. He always mentioned Wawa's, but another podcast I listened to was that Knockback one.
Yeah.
I told you the Moriarty brothers, the one that's like all nostalgia oriented. The older brother, he lives in Philadelphia, and he always talks about going to Wawa's like with his daughter and getting food. And so I'm like, or no, sorry, not Wawa's and Sheetz. And I was like,
Is it
"Dude, I gotta try
only
Sheetz
East
already next
Coast
time."
or is it? I mean, is
Blew
there
my
is it
mind.
what is there a West Coast? Like, what's the closest state
Yeah,
that
I
has
think
it
it
to us?
is. I don't know. I didn't look it up. I just knew it was definitely a Pennsylvania thing out here. And Chipobear, there's so much. Like I literally spent like 5 minutes just trying to figure out what to order. You know, there's so many things I wanted to try. It's overwhelming. Think of Sonic's menu. You know how Sonic's
that
pretty
way at
diverse
Sonic's.
and has a lot
I
of
don't know
stuff,
what to
right?
do.
It's like 3 or 4 times, dude. It's at least 3 times as much there. And so you select your order, and you, like I said, you pick out everything you can imagine how you want it, and then you go up and you pay for it in line with everybody else who's getting their convenience stuff, and then you go back and then you pick it up. Dude, it was so good. I'm gonna
God,
have
I
to
feel
go
like
back
I just
like
need
10
to try to
times
make
while
my
I'm
snap
here.
wraps
Like
at home. I just wanted that. God, I had almost
It was so good,
forgotten.
Chipobear.
You made me so hungry right now. It's amazing.
Yeah, but I know, but the sauce, man, like that was another key factor. That Boom Boom sauce, I'm so glad I tried it because I was like, this has got to
Yeah.
be good. Boom Boom, like.
Oh
I'm
my
telling you,
God,
that was
makes I
exciting
thought you
news,
were gonna tell me it
Chipobear.
was
So
back. I got really excited. I would literally be like at my McDonald's, be like, "Hello,
I know,
hello, let me in."
I know. I I wrote in there McSnack Wrap lives on, and I'm sorry, they're called.
Snack wraps.
Here, hold on, I gotta see what it's. Yeah, I have the exact name here. I had to share with you Chipobear, and I was thinking of you the whole time, being like, man, Chipobear is gonna hate me for eating these delicious. They're called Snack Rabs with
That
one
makes it
Z.
cooler.
So
The 1Z.
that's. Go look it up. Go look up Sheetz. It's
Okay.
Sheetz. And I'm telling you, man, I guess like out here, these convenience stores are just like super high class, and even their bathrooms are
Okay.
nice. I was like
Okay.
blown away.
Shout out to
Like
Sheetz.
it's like I said, a super high class. Oh yeah, and I hear guys, the Wawa's is even better, and I haven't been to a Wawa because that's even further East Coast. So shout out to Sheets. You guys are doing God's work out there with these snack wraps, and also I need to get to a Wawa. So
The snacks.
enough about my adventures with food and snacks. Chipobear, I'm going to throw it over to you. What have you been playing? And I'd also like to know if you had anything special happen to you this past week. I know of something that you've been doing this past week, but let's
Yeah.
get some
So
games in
playing,
there first.
really getting into Resident Evil 8. And definitely don't want to give us spoilers for anyone that's loves Resident Evil or the Capcom games, but it's been awesome. Like, just it performs so buttery smooth on the Series X, and the graphics are legitimately beautiful and stressful in the same way that like RE7 was, where like it looks so good and real and believable that like you go like carefully around corners, and obviously first person view and stuff. The one thing I will just say that's not a spoiler,
Yeah.
but I really really appreciated was that obviously all of the like media and all the publications really focused on Lady Dimitrescu, like the very large lady, right? And she is obviously a main character. She's a great character.
Yes,
Like, really
yes.
love what happened with her in the story. But she is only a really small part of the story. Like, that is, I really like that they were really careful about that and really didn't spoil a lot of what went on. But really great, like really great system, a lot of cool new characters, and I think I'm getting to the like probably the last 20% right now. Like, I really have put in some time to it this week.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna say,
I think I'm
How far do you
reaching
think
the
you
end
are?
here, and I can tell you why, but I don't want to spoil it for people. But
Okay.
really, really liked it. So I mean,
No,
I'm
please
thinking
don't.
if I can get through it, I might do another playthrough with some of the added stuff, and then
Wow.
obviously go back to Modern Warfare a little bit and get ready for Mass Effect is probably my next one after that. So yeah. And in terms of fun things this week, just
Nice.
I had on my graduation,
So
like not my graduation, but the one that I run for our school, and went really well. We got to be back at Red
Yes.
Rocks, which for those of you that are not in Colorado, don't know Red Rocks, it's a natural rock structure that's very close to where we live. That is actually, it's a concert venue, and it's literally like famous across the entire United States. Some
Very
of the best
famous.
concerts have
Yeah,
ever been
world
there,
famous.
and we're very fortunate that it's literally like 10 minutes from our house, and so that's actually where we get to graduate. So it's a very beautiful backdrop for all of my kids, and everything went great. So that was kind of the big thing for my week. How about you? You've been able to play anything while you're on quote unquote vacation?
Exactly. I'm glad you said the
Oh yeah,
quotes. I actually had a question about Resident Evil 8. I hear the ending is fantastic. I was listening to ACG talk about it on Defining Duke, their podcast, and he was saying like it was like incredible. Like he wasn't necessarily like that in love with the game, but then the ending blew him away. So I'm like,
I
don't tell
think
me
I know what
anything, but
he's
I'm like,
referring
I
to,
need to
and
play this
because I can
apparently,
see
and
it
I need to
kind of
play it
coming, and
soon.
I really applaud them for doing what they're
Really,
doing. It's really good, dude.
dude. Oh my god, I need to get. Oh no, there's so
Yeah,
many
and there's
games I don't know
definitely
what to
been a
do. You
couple of
guys,
like
there's too
legit
many
jump
games.
scares, like where like
Um,
actually startled. Where a lot of it was Seven, where like kind of that something is gonna come through here, but there have been a couple times that legitimately got me. But it's really good. I've really enjoyed it.
do you feel like it's more difficult than Seven, or more scary, or
You know
less
what I would say?
scary and
It's
easier?
easier than Seven in that you have a lot more weapons at your disposal to like take care of enemies. But what has been harder is that they're much more diverse and they're much more agile in terms of like trying to like not just like blindly shoot and waste a bunch of ammo. And but it's I really like 8. Like I liked 7, and it was obviously a really cool change from what we had from before 4, 5, and 6 and stuff. But they did a really good job with 8, and I am stoked for whatever they're going to do with 9.
Really? Gosh.
It's good, dude. It's really good. I
Wow.
would let you have my
Okay.
copy, but I got the
Dang
digital
it.
version.
Do you feel like the shooting? Oh, it's all good. I'm gonna have to play it soon. Do you feel like is Ethan still kind of like clunky moving around? Like, is it still more slow, or do you feel like the shooting's a little bit smoother, like more reactive? Like you're
No,
not
no,
as
it's
slow
very
as maybe 7
it's
was.
very smooth. The controls in terms of like, and I mean, and specifically as Ethan, and what I really applaud them for. This is not a spoiler, but there is like a tiered weapon system where like the weapons that you can get early in like the first third of the game are good, and you can modify them to where they're pretty powerful and they do a great job. But then just when you kind of think they're maxing out, they offer kind of like the next tier up, and so it's an automatic bonus to move there. But obviously, like you have to pay for it and all this kind of stuff. But an example to explain is like the sniper rifle. The first time you get the sniper rifle, like works really well. You get it decently early in the game, so you can actually use it. Ammo is actually pretty plentiful to use it as well. But when you have it plain, it still does like the moving thing, even when you're trying to be still. And then as soon as you buy kind of a modification, I think it's called a shoulder rest in the game, all of a sudden like it just like locks on, and it won't do that anymore. So it's like an incentive to really actually level up the guns, because I felt like in some of the old RE games, if you had just an abundance of money, I never seemed to do that. But if you did, I wasn't always like, oh, I don't need to buy the like stock for the gun or the scope or anything. And in this game, I've been really aching to do that quickly, because it's really improved my ability to like fight off the characters. But no, it's really good. Like the control's good. The Ethan feels very controllable and smooth. It's great.
Nice. I'm excited. I'll get to it eventually. The backlog just continues to grow for me. And this
Always, man.
vacation doesn't help. So yeah, so I've just been on vacation, you guys. Don't travel with 3 kids under 3. Our first
That could be just a life rule.
dude, just for all you guys who don't have kids yet or young ones. So our trip, we flew out. The flight was actually really well. The kids did great. We had our minivan ready, Chipobear, and I know we were going right when the gas shortage was happening in North Carolina. Had a van, no issues with gas, so that was all great.
Oh,
The
great.
problems started, they did a pretty dang good job. I got to give them credit for driving as long as they did. I think we drove like 5 hours and we stopped and we stayed in a hotel. That's where the nightmares started. It was me.
Like literal
Oh,
nightmares?
yes, real life nightmares during the day. So in real life, so we went into one hotel room. It was me, Allie, her brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, I guess, and the 3 kids. And this was like the first time the kids have ever not basically slept eat all
At home.
not even no they've slept out of the place, but not well, I guess not recently, but all of us together just constant crying, screaming, just freaking out. I got very little sleep. It was just nightmare, you guys. Then
You look so well rested. I'm
no
shocked.
dude, I'm
That was
fighting to fall
sarcasm.
asleep right now. And then we got to the Outer Banks. And they've actually they were really good at the beach, and they've had a great time. So I'm happy that they've got to experience that. But I'm sad at the same time because they're so young, they're probably not going to remember it. But it is cool. Like I didn't get to go to a beach until I was like, who knows how old, or get on a plane. I didn't fly until I was like in college. Basically, we were always on road trips. But it's great that they're getting all these experiences. And the
Yeah.
wedding, I want to talk about this really briefly, was a blast. And the crazy thing is it is May of 2021 and it felt like there was no pandemic, and it was nice. And we had a great, I didn't really party much, to be honest. We were both in bed by like 10:30. It was pathetic, but it was nice just to go to something and have everybody just be normal, and not that like this new normal is bad or not necessary. It was nice just to feel, like the good old days, like before the pandemic, and go to something and nobody was wearing masks. Nobody was doing any social distancing. There was finger foods for the
Like snack
appetizers.
wraps?
No, but they had dude. There's these shrimp tacos, incredible. They had like a taco truck come for the food. Like it was a very laid back. It was on the beach, the wedding, and it was only like 100 people. But of course, a majority, if not all, of the older people here had been vaccinated. All of us had been vaccinated. Like I'm assuming probably like 70-80% of the people here were vaccinated. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe all of them. But it was just really nice. Allie and I were just sitting, afterwards during the reception, being like, it feels like, like normal.
Feels good.
Yeah, and it felt good. So
the $1 million question is: were the kids? Were you still like having to watch them the whole time?
Oh yeah, I've been watching the kids
people,
the whole time. This has not been a vacation. No, I've been
I'm
literally
saying
on
at the wedding,
extended
though,
dad
like,
duty.
people...
Oh no, I was watching them then too.
Okay.
Allie and I we got to go on a walk for 15 minutes, just me and her on the beach, and then 15 minutes back.
Oh my god, so luxurious.
That was literally,
like a bachelor
dude. I'm not
move.
even kidding. That's probably like the only time we've had off during this entire vacation, where it was just us so far. So as we've had other people here, but they only want to watch your kids for so much. I've been on extended dad duty basically all the time, and not that I have a problem with it. We're here to be with family, and it's for the kids, but it's been exhausting. Like I said, the wedding day. So during the wedding, I had to walk away with the girls and distract them while the actual ceremony was going on, because they're being a little loud, But like it was on the
children.
Yeah, but it was on the beach, and so that was nice. And I just want to make sure we're still recording, right?
Mine says recording.
Yeah, okay. So we I took him back. We put him to bed, and then Allie's parents came back, and so we got about maybe an hour to an hour and a half at the reception. But dude, I barely drank. I don't even know if I had any drinks. Allie had like one glass of wine, one shot, and then she's like, "I'm tired. I want to go to bed." It was like 10:30. We went to bed while everyone's still partying. Maybe we are middle aged now. I'm thinking.
Yeah. You want to go back to that first conversation we talked about? So then the other $1 million question is: did you get to see J-Biz? That was the other question I wanted to ask.
Oh no, didn't make J-Biz. So when we landed, it was just like we got to get as quickly, as far as we could. It was nightmare situation. They'd never been in a van for more than an hour and a half, if that, like it's been rough. So I mean,
nice.
but as rough as it has been, they've been fairly good. So I do need to give them credit. So,
nice.
But guys, I did manage to sneak the Xbox Series X with me. It did make the trip. But I've maybe played like an hour of Mass Effect, and that's about it. Like, I'm on the Novaria. I'm on the ice planet, and that's it, dude. I couldn't even tell you. Dude, I was editing.
Summer
is
right around the corner. You'll have so much time this summer.
Well, no, maybe we don't get all that time off. But yeah, it's been mostly about this trip, guys. So sorry, I haven't been playing. But another nightmare situation. We thought, here's another pro tip for all you guys who are gonna have kids. We left the hotel, or we left the beach house was this last night? Oh my God, this was last night. We left last night at 8:30, and I'm like, I'm just gonna drive straight, dude. The kids are gonna sleep on the van. They're gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome. They're just gonna sleep. How could you not sleep in a van? I even put Grayson's reverse style. Laying back. Of course, it's comfortable. They lasted about 4 hours. I was losing it in the van.
That's
Nobody
impressive.
was sleeping. Allie wasn't sleeping. Had to do an emergency pullover at a hotel at 2 a.m. just outside of DC. We were trying to get to Pittsburgh, basically. They're losing it. Just mass chaos in the van. We're like, you kids better shut the... I'm going to...
Yeah.
pull...
I will give you anything to be quiet right now.
Dude, it just... horrid stuff of nightmares again, guys. Stuff of nightmares. And I'm like, we're never going to make it. We need to just go to a hotel. Pull into a Hilton. I don't know if I've ever stayed at a Hilton. This might have been the best hotel. Shout out to Hilton for saving me. The guy was so helpful. I was like, can you get us a top floor and not by anybody? He's like, I'll put you in the top. He put us on the 6th floor, top floor. We weren't sharing any walls with anyone, so we weren't going to disrupt anyone. We get there, Chipobear. I'm like a machine. I get in, get our suitcases up there. Allie starts getting ready for bed. Put the pack and plays up. We're asleep by half an hour after we get there. Right? Everybody is knocked
like clockwork,
dude. Problem is, I set my alarm like they're gonna sleep so long. It's 2 a.m. I'm gonna get up at 11 and be fully refreshed. They're up at fucking 8:30 or freaking 8:30, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Just 6 hours of sleep at that. But
kids have infinite energy. Infinite energy.
but it was nice. Like I'm glad we did it. And Ali even said like afterwards, like that was such a key play to go to the hotel. And Hilton, I was blown away by this hotel. I'm gonna keep going on about this hotel. They're like, it's gonna be like $150. I'm like, I don't care, whatever. And I was kind of pissed at first. Gladly paid the
Worth every
price.
penny.
I'm a Hilton man now. I was blown away at how clean this hotel was. The attention to detail. They had like adjustable shower head. The soap had that like ribbed feature so you don't drop it and everything.
You know
Neutrogena
that Hilton
lotions.
is like a major hotel brand, right? Like that's what they've
No, I
done
do
for
know.
like 50
I do.
years.
No, I know it is, but like the more I realized, I thought about, it, I'm like, this is why they're top in the business, and
Yeah.
everything was so clean because we stayed at like another one that first night, and it was just not good, Jose. And then this one, just like I was like, I would have gladly paid. I'm so glad I paid for this experience. I even talked to the manager in the morning and be like, this was incredible. The guy going out. So anyway, shout out to Hilton for saving me from blowing my brains.
Which
last night
Hilton was it?
because
You got to give the right one to shout.
Oh, sorry. Hilton Garden. Oh, dang it. Chipobear putting me on the spot right now. I'll find it. But yeah, dude, that was my experience last night. So then we woke up today, drove 5 hours, and now we're just outside of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. And what a trip, you guys. I drove like 10 hours the past 2 days. So
When are you coming back to Colorado?
I'll be back next Sunday. We're flying back.
You're a
You're
champ, man. That is
2 weeks.
so rough.
Sorry. Hilton Garden Inn, Woodbridge, Virginia. Shout out to you guys. Shout out for all those
Big
listeners
ups.
out there. If you need a great hotel just outside of the D.C. area, the capital, Washington. I didn't know this, Jose. Everything just says Washington. There's no D.C. Am I like old school for saying Washington, D.C.?
No, just because we don't live there, so we don't like. To us, it's Washington D.C. I'm sure they
Yeah.
know they're not talking about Washington in the northwest. They know
I
that.
guess you're
there.
right. They're like, you don't need to say D.C. We know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like
So
we say
anyway.
feds or wads, and it's like, what are you talking about? Like it's Wadsworth versus federal. Like we
Yeah.
just know that here because that's what we say.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's been me, guys. Not much gaming. I still want to play more Mass Effect. Still want to play Control. And apparently now I need to play Resident Evil 8 since this is Masterpiece that
You do.
Chipobear is describing to us. So great.
Yeah, I can't give it a rating yet because I'm not done, but it's going to be high.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
you're gonna have to give me a rating, and we'll do a spoiler free
Free
little
review.
kind of
Yeah,
review.
yeah.
But you can't. Please don't spoil it for me.
I won't. I
I'm
won't.
really excited. All right, Chapo, that's enough about that stuff. Let's jump into the news. I've got some exciting stuff. I actually have some stuff that I'm really interested to hearing from you. From now on, we're going straight to Eurogamer, you guys. They just get straight to the point. None of this filler caca. IGN, I don't know what's happening with them. I can't even trust them anywhere. So let's jump into it, Chapo. Starfield release date is reportedly late 2022. I was hoping this game was going to come out this year, but according to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, he tweeted that Bethesda plans to tease this release at E3, which everyone was expecting, but it's going to come out in late 22. Chipobear, do you know anything about Starfield, first of all, and what do you think of this news?
No, I do not know anything about Starfield.
Okay.
I mean, traditionally, like space exploration games don't pique my interest unless you're like in the Dead or the
Mass Effect
or the Dead Space realm. Again, that horror genre is a lot of what I am driven to, but I respect it. I mean, I never played like No Man's Sky or anything like that. I know. Obviously, it's still a thing, and obviously has grown as well. But no, I've not heard of Starfield. I guess the only thing I would say, because I don't have a lot to comment on, because I don't know what it is,
No problem.
is that because it's
Nobody does.
a Bethesda title, and Bethesda now is a product of Microsoft itself, like I would be curious to see what their plans are for release, whether like a timed exclusive or purely an exclusive, whether it'll be on Games Pass, because that also could be kind of important for precedent moving forward, right? Like what's going to happen with the next iteration of Fallout, what's going to happen with Elder Scrolls, obviously that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I mean, what do you think? What do you know about Starfield? Like, are you into it?
Yeah, so nobody knows anything. It's literally just been teased, and I remember the tease and being excited for it because I'm a Bethesda guy. Like I'm gonna play everything. I realized that within the past few years, I'm like I play all their games and I love all of them. So when I found out that Microsoft was buying them, I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
I love Bethesda games. So don't worry, nobody knows what it is, and there's all this hype for it. But I think there's hype because it's something new from Bethesda, and I think it's has the potential to be really good. I'm a little disappointed because I didn't think it would be possible to come out this year, but like a part of me dreamt and hoped that it would. Like maybe they would show it at E3 and then release it like they did with Fallout 4. But as far as I could have waited, maybe I'm like, okay, spring 2022, that works too. But now late 2022, that kind of sucks. Like, is this a result of the pandemic and everything being delayed? Probably,
Yeah.
but it's disappointing. But I don't care. As long as we get this game and it's good, that's all that matters. Like, I'm not one of these people who freak out about delays, and I mean, they happen. I'd rather have a good game.
Yeah.
And as much as it sucked with Halo last year, like, look, we're almost there already. It's gonna. Halo only got better since last November, right?
It's true, and the other part of it is the backlog. I mean, like, yeah, it sometimes is a bummer when you
Yeah.
don't have those AAA titles back to back, but it just means like I'm gonna go back and play this because it's on Games Pass or it's $15 at GameStop or whatever. Like, that's a great time to catch up on that stuff. So I mean, I don't mind the delays.
Yeah, me neither. And as far as the exclusivity thing, I think it's gonna be exclusive to Xbox. So
You're calling
you
it.
can.
That's officially D Daddy or Daddy D Wally call right now.
Yeah, I mean, when Phil Spencer's like, these games are going to be exclusive to where Game Pass exists. If Game Pass is not on Nintendo or PlayStation, you're not going to see this. It's exclusive. Everything from now on is going to be Xbox and PC.
Do you think this will be
It's
the
done, Jose.
first Xbox exclusive Bethesda game, or do you think something's coming out between now and then?
No, I think this will be. This is like you said, it's going to set the precedent, and this is what's going to happen moving forward. And people are like, I think they're complaining about that on the internet as always about like, oh, it's not exclusive. Start getting used to this. I just, you don't spend all that money for nothing, and I think it was incredibly smart the more I think about it. And why would they release it? How about that, Chipotle? Why would you release this on PS5?
I mean, the obvious answer is money, because then you get more
Yeah.
people to buy it. But here's what I would actually argue now that I think about it too, as you're talking, it is a perfect game to be the first one that's exclusive to Xbox because it's a new IP, right? So the challenge with things like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls or Fallout is that like you already have people that play those on both platforms, and the PlayStation people are going to be real hurt when that next one doesn't come out. But if this one is new, they're more likely to be like, oh, do whatever. It's an Xbox thing now. But if it sets the precedent, I mean, that's a smart move.
So, okay. So you say money. I guess you're right. Like the incentive could always be, hey, and this is what my boy Colin over on Sacred Symbols always argues is what he thought PlayStation or Xbox was going to do is that why pay $70 for a game on PlayStation 5 when you can play it on Game Pass essentially for free? Like that's the argument, right? Like and you can get a Game Pass subscription for $1 or $15 a month and stream it, or get a Series S, or do whatever, or play it on PC, versus paying that full $70. So I don't know, man. I just think that, like you said, a new IP. Why would you? I don't know. I think that you're right. I think this is the perfect reason to just have it on Xbox. But so do you think Skyrim and Fallout potentially could still be on PS5? How about that?
I mean, I think it depends.
Elder Scrolls,
what happens with this is a good indication of what will happen. Those things. I don't want to say it couldn't happen. I mean, it also, I think, will depend on even things like, I'm sure there are other studios that are going through this same problem right now of like, are we going to be exclusive to one or the other? Are we going to be a timed exclusive to one or the other? Or are we just going to say, nope, we're going to release it to both? I mean, it's like the Final Fantasy thing right now, right? So like Square Enix knew like, we should definitely put this on PlayStation first, right? That was our home for Final Fantasy, and they were going to get a lot of love there. But we also would be smart financially to report it to Xbox, because realistically, that's not as much work. It's not easy, but it's a lot of the basics are there, and you could make obviously a lot of money. Because like as a person who was not going to buy both systems, probably, I know some people do, like yourself, but like I'm probably not going to buy a PS5. If Final Fantasy VII came to Xbox, even a year or two later, I would still play it because I would love to just see that. You know what I'm saying? And so,
yeah.
I think, I know money is a cheap and easy answer to say, but I just think that's why most people want to release on both, because it's also a great way to get that fan base, right? It's just now that there is the fan base for Elder Scrolls and for Fallout and those games, it's harder to take that back and say, we're going to funnel it into Microsoft, except that they control it. I mean, like they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly. Like exactly, and that's they do though. Like that's my counter argument to what you're saying is Square Enix is
Yeah,
still
you're
independent.
right.
Bethesda is no longer Bethesda. Bethesda
Yeah,
is Xbox.
you're right. So
They they own the IP. Xbox owns Elder Scrolls. Like that's wild. Like they own Fallout. They own Wolfenstein. They own all
I know
these great games. It's exclusive. It's over, Jose. When Phil Spencer says where Game Pass exists, I think that was his clear but not clear way of
that's what's
saying,
happening.
"Sorry guys, this is it." Like he didn't want to. And you're right. You're right. Whatever happens with Starfield, that's going to be the rest of it. But okay, but then there's that Indiana Jones game, which was apparently they started to make conversations about that before the acquisition. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let's move on. Grand Theft Auto 5, Jose, is coming to PS5 and Series X this November,
Is it enhanced for it?
and it's gonna get some sort of
Okay.
enhanced form. And basically, I just want to hear what you think that the fact that this game came out in 2013 on Xbox 360 and PS3 and is gonna get an enhanced version. Does that mean anything
I
to
mean, to
you?
me, no. I mean, like I might play it the enhanced version, but it's
Did you play? You played
no. I
and
never
beat it?
beat it. I got probably only like a quarter of the way through. It's
Oh
just
my
the
gosh!
problem is that it's the same thing. And it's not
Really?
because I didn't like it. It was a great game. I have nothing against it. I have nothing against the Grand Theft Auto like series. It's just that it's the open world thing. Like it's just I like it, and I really appreciate all the effort that goes into making these really, really rich and
Incredible details in that game.
big world. It's just that because of where we're at in our life, I just can't commit 120 hours to every game. I just
Yeah.
can't. And
Just like you can't commit to two
I
consoles
mean,
now either.
that's the bottom line. Yeah, I
You have
mean,
a Switch though.
that's I'm not committing to every game on the Switch either.
You're right. You
I
don't
mean, it's
commit
just
time to that.
that's
You're
my
right.
only
We talked
concern is with
about
that
that.
kind of stuff is like it's really cool, but I mean, the only reason they're porting it to these is truly for money because they already know they're successful and they can make them even
Dude,
bigger
yeah.
theoretically with some nice visual enhancements. And again, I have nothing against that. Like, dude, make your money, keep the studio. I know they're probably working on 6, and because it's so big, it just freaking takes so long to make.
Yeah, this is a good way to keep it fresh and continue to just milk that money out of it because they make so
Yeah.
much money from that.
So, I mean, that's my thoughts. I mean,
So
I'm happy for him. It's good. I might play it a little bit, but I definitely am not going to beat the whole thing again. Like, there's just no way.
So, unlike Chipobear, I did beat it. I beat it twice. I've paid for this game, I think, 3 times. This is pathetic. I bought it on 360, bought the enhanced
Xbox
or
One, yeah.
the Xbox One version on disc. Was sick of discs at the time, so I bought it digitally. Dude, I bought this game 3 times. I just realized that's pathetic. Probably all at full price too, because I'm an idiot. Because it was all around the time. So I have beaten it twice. Incredible game. My gosh, the level of detail, I could go on and on. It's a 10 out of 10. This is a
Yeah, I
masterpiece
totally agree.
game on the scale, by the way, for our rating. The details, incredible. The story, the characters. I loved how you could switch between the 3 characters. Just you could literally do everything. And that's the reason why the game is still incredibly popular is you can literally just do anything
It's a
and live
sandbox,
out
right? Do whatever you want.
just an entirely no. Yeah. And like there's that, have you seen the RP servers on PC where you're acting out roles? Like literally you have to act out a role when you're on this role playing server on PC, and like it's crazy, dude. Like it's modded out, so like whenever you enter you have to play the character that's assigned to you. It's crazy. I haven't seen too much about it. I've only read about it, but like people are getting sucked in. Like Kyle Siaka, who I still keep in touch with, he's in Asia somewhere teaching English. I haven't seen him since college. He was texting me on WeChat about that. Yeah, I know the Chinese are spying on me, whatever. And he that's the only way he can communicate with us. And he's like, "Have you heard about this RP and Grand Theft Auto?" Like that's how large. He's not even that big of a. He doesn't even game much anymore. And he was talking about it. So the game came out in 2013, you guys, September. I'll never forget because it was right before the Xbox One launched. So not only have I beaten it multiple times, I me Matthew, and Miggy put so many hours into the multiplayer. It was incredible, Jose. The heists were so much fun. The co-op missions were so much fun. We didn't even do stuff where like the PvP, like killing other people. We were always against the computer. Dude, we put so much time in it. Like, I love GTA Online, but the one fatal flaw, horrible loading, horrible. We would have to do all these workarounds just to get us in the same server, just to get us in the same missions. It was terrible, and we played it recently, probably within the past year, just because there's more heist content that we haven't finished and we want to, and we were just shocked. We're like, how did we
Yeah.
deal with this? And like I think we might have even played it on the Series X, and we're like, this is unacceptable. So I'm excited to see if they can fix these just absolutely terrible load times and just these quality of life fixes on Series X. So yes, I will probably be playing
Yeah,
this
no
again.
judgment.
To
That's
anyone
awesome.
who was wondering. So let's move on. I love Grand Theft Auto, and you're right. I can't wait for 6, and it take as much time as you want, Rockstar, and you will, because why would you rush it? Because you're making billions of dollars on people buying shark cards on Grand Theft Auto 5 online. Jose, I don't know if we need to cover this, and I just wanted to hear from you. Did you get a chance to play? Did you play
I did.
Outriders? I can't
Endorsement and I
remember.
played. We started together, and just honestly with work schedules at the end of the year, we played I think 2 nights together, and then it was like we couldn't match up. I would like to go back and maybe in the summer, as he and I both kind of finish out the school year, we'll have time to do that. If not, I would just love to play through by myself. It was cool. I enjoyed Outriders. I liked that it was like it did some different stuff with kind of your classes and stuff. I always have a trouble choosing classes when it's stuff like that, because it's just like it's hard for me to commit to something where it's like I know this is going to be like 40 hours, you know what I'm saying, or 20 hours at minimum to really get into it, to build out their kind of like powers and stuff. But it was cool. It was a cool story. I liked it. We got to basically fight one like boss kind of together, and it was cool. It was challenging, but it was a nice balance of like we could balance each other with our characters, and then like when one of us got knocked down, you can go revive them instead of them just being out. Like there was some cool elements there. So I think it was definitely cool. Like I would have loved to play with a bigger party. So maybe this summer. And obviously Games Pass also, which is dope
So
too.
it's just time limited. Yeah. So I just wanted to say Square Enix said that Outriders is its next big franchise as it reached 3.5 unique million or 3.5 million unique players. So you were one of those 3.5 million, and you liked it. So apparently they're going to work on a sequel. Do you feel like maybe from what you've seen, does that excite you? Thinking like, do you think this is a smart move by them, or do you think like I could give her like, is it
Oh yeah,
like,
I love
did you
Division
play
1 and
Division?
2. Great.
Okay. Okay, so do you feel like from what you've played, which grabbed you more,
I mean, I
Division or
think
this?
Division did at first because it's just, it was like controls were ultra tight. It was a really cool scenario. Graphics were like off the chain. Like they did a great job with like, it was multiplayer, but also just as easy to hop in and out of like playing with someone or not. Outriders, I just didn't have the time yet. I mean, I'm thinking we're like a total of like maybe
Okay,
4 hours
just
in. So it's just not enough time.
Okay, so
But
you
the
can't.
basic story though,
So you just need more time. We'll come back. I want to come back to it then. Once you get more
okay,
into
I'll
it,
hold
I
on
want to hear
because I need a
your
little bit
review
more
on
with it. But it was
'cause
cool. I do like it so far.
Yeah. Okay. So you think that 3.5 and you being part, you can see
Yeah,
why they
and
want
there's
to keep going with it.
without knowing a ton of the story, but at least the beginning part, there's definitely room for expansion, which is smart, especially if it's selling well. So
Okay. Okay. Maybe another game I
yeah,
have to check out. There's just too many games. Speaking of kind of being third person Gears like, I don't know if you knew about this, Chipobear, but last year there was this prototype of Gears of War 3 that came out and was playable
I
on a
did hear about that.
PS3. And yeah, and it's kind of old news, and it was just kind of like a experiment, and it wasn't really ever going to come out. But I just kind of wanted to tie this and throw this question to you. Do you think we could see maybe the old Gears games or even like the Master Chief Collection on PlayStation? Do you think that's
Like technically, or you mean like if they
realistic?
would be
Like this is,
successful?
or no, I mean, like realist, like yeah, both. Like through them realistically being like, hey, Master Chief is now going to be on like the opposite of this wall with Bethesda, hey, our old games, we're gonna put them on PS5.
I mean,
Is there any incentive for them to do that, or why would you think anyone on PlayStation would care?
that's what I would worry more about. I mean, and here's what I would
Okay.
say. I would say Gears maybe more because of the
Yeah.
story piece. I mean, Halo, the story is it's cool and it's dope, but it's also very old at this point. 2 decades
You
old.
bite your tongue.
You know that I love Halo. I'm just saying, like, the multiplayer is what draws people now, right? It's not necessarily the story, even though the story is great.
Ooh, dude, there are diehard Halo single player people who.
But those people
Anyway,
don't have
sorry,
a
sorry.
PlayStation. They don't care to play it on a
That's true.
PlayStation.
That's very true.
So I would
And
say
that's a good point. No, I see. That's actually a really good point, Jose, because I couldn't tell you what's a great first person shooter on PlayStation only. There isn't one. That's like their one weak, not one. That's one of their weaknesses. Like they're all about third person action adventure, semi open world, open
that's
world
a good
games.
point. I mean, that's the other part is the server side, right? So, like, not that you couldn't build the servers, and then truly, like, old Xbox games, when you look at just their full data size, are like a fraction of like current gen games, right? Like, you
Yeah.
could easily fit them
Well,
on.
with these 4Ks, I wonder how much that adds to it to have this damn textures.
But it's the like, are you really gonna go play like first Halo on PlayStation 5 and play multiplayer against people, or would you rather play the Master Chief Collection on Xbox? Like, with the updated graphics and
yeah.
stuff. I mean, I guess it could. I mean, I guess if you're just looking to try to get people to maybe move to your side, you give them a little taste of that and say, like, this is what's so cool. Come
Maybe.
over. I mean, maybe, but
Maybe that's a key into Game Pass. Like, dude, maybe that's how they launch Game Pass on PlayStation.
I mean, maybe. That doesn't seem likely to me. But I guess. I mean,
Why not?
I just don't think. I mean,
Dude, if Xbox is serious about being like no more Bethesda games, sorry guys, it's got to be where Game Pass exists. PlayStation's be like, all right, if you guys want to be a bunch of jerks about this, okay, you can have Game Pass. We'll allow Game Pass to try it out and see if it works on a console. Why not try Halo? I mean, they don't really have a first person shooter. It's just dipping your toes. Okay, now that you've had Halo, do you want us to put the Elder Scrolls 6 on there? I'm just.
I mean, my gut is no. That's my thoughts. But it could. I mean, I guess it could happen.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to throw that out there. I think it's interesting. I don't know, man. Would I have a problem with old Halo being on PlayStation 5? No.
No, I don't
Why
have a
not?
problem with
If
it.
there are people out there who are that stubborn to not get an Xbox to play, but they've always wanted to, but they're like, not until it's on PlayStation, whatever. Chipobear, have you played Watch Dogs at all?
I've not played either of them. It's on my
Okay, well, then we'll
backlog
skip
list. I just
this.
never got there.
Just the ever going out. I just wanted to mention they're getting a Series X and PS5 performance mode to 60 FPS. So again, every game from now on needs to be 60 FPS, like it, and preferably 4K. We need to move on. Okay, Chipobear, I've saved the last two stories here for you because these are the juicy ones, as they say.
Okay.
Netflix, I don't know if you heard this, Chipobear, reportedly wants to get into video games in a big way. And this is from Wesley Lin Yin Pool over at Eurogamer. And they want to move into the video game industry. Netflix said the company's hiring for an executive to lead its future video game initiative and is on the hunt for senior figures within the industry. Early discussions apparently involve potentially launching an Apple Arcade-style bundle of games, but without adverts. What do you think of Netflix entering the gaming industry? Does this make sense at all?
I mean, I guess it makes sense from a profit standpoint. I guess it's the logistical how is the big question. I mean, I
Yeah.
could see them trying to do like what Google Stadia is and now xCloud and stuff. Like, we're going to just run all the games on these really nice fancy servers and you're remoting in and running them. That's most likely what I would imagine they would do. And I mean, I guess they have the capital. They have a lot of money to spend on stuff.
Do they?
Netflix? Oh my God. They're a huge company. Like they spend,
I know, but weren't they losing money like crazy? Like, are they like, how long have they been profitable? You know this, Mr. Econ. Like, you know more about this
a
than I
long
do.
time. Let's look it up. Current profit for Netflix. I mean,
But does this, okay, going back to the actual news, does this make sense? why would Netflix do like to me it's like, dude, just focus on what you're doing. Like why like I know people want to be involved in video
Yeah.
games because it's such a huge industry and it's only going to continue to grow and it's already makes more money than movies and TV and everything like that. Like I get it, but license your stuff out like that Stranger Things games. Like get your games out through that. I don't what is Netflix going to bring to video games that Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo aren't doing, and even Apple Arcade. Since I know some people like you apparently think Apple Arcade is good, but anyway, that's another discussion.
Good, for the record. No, I mean, I about the Netflix thing, I agree with you. I mean, it seems a little silly to me. Like you said, stick with what you're good at. You're already very profitable. By the way, I just looked it up real quick. Their revenue in the first quarter of this year was 7.16 billion, up from 5.8 the quarter before. So they're doing fine.
But what are they spending?
I didn't look into that. But even if, dude, billions, when we're in the billions, I'm sure you that they're doing fine. I assure you that they're doing fine.
And I guarantee they're spending a lot because they have to be making original content since they don't have anything anymore.
But a lot of their original content
I don't know.
Good.
To me, I'm still worried about Netflix. Apparently I'm missing out on what's good on Netflix. Can someone who's listening tell me what do I need to watch on Netflix besides Stranger
Army
Things?
of the Dead? I just started it last night. It's awesome with Dave Bautista.
How do you have time for all these shows?
I'm not on vacation right now.
That actually. All right. To me, this just doesn't make sense. I don't get it, but good luck, Netflix.
I'm with you.
Go. I mean,
good luck.
Whatever. Good luck. Okay. So, save the best story for last. Not directly Xbox related in any way, but I just wanted to share this with you.
Is it a mixed snack wrap story again?
No, nothing will top that. I'm sorry. I should have ended with that. We started with a bang, and it's only been downhill since. Okay. Twitch is launching new pools, hot tubs, and beaches category in response to community and advertiser feedback. This announcement came after a controversial week for Twitch and its hot tub meta, with some streamers complaining that advertising had been suspended from their channels without warning or explanation. Twitch said it had done this at its advertisers' request. We recently suspended advertising on some channels that were flagged, and we failed to notify them. So basically, Jose, what do you think about the fact that Twitch is just going to have this new pools, hot tubs, and beaches category? And where do you stand on the whole women being half naked and people watching them on Twitch and just the whole...
I mean...
Just tell me your thoughts on this.
Have lots of thoughts.
I have to hear what you think.
Thoughts.
I can't wait. But first of all, and the reason I wanted to share the story is because, yes, as soon as I get back to Colorado, Jose has a new hot tub, and we will be live streaming XRT
I have a new hot tub?
Next time.
No.
You're getting one. And we will be streaming from Jose's hot tub stream for all. I just wanted to throw that out there. That was actually, wait. My aunt and uncle have a hot tub. They do. Indoors. You're coming.
I was like, I'm not
We
buying
are
a hot
filming
tub.
the next XRT. You're right down the road from him. Guys, next XRT episode 4 will be recorded from episode 5 when I get back will be recorded in the hot tub. Just throwing it out there. Give me your thoughts.
Kids pool we could sit in with my kids playing. It'll be cold.
What do you think about I got to hear what you think about the whole females in particular streaming themselves in a hot tub and the whole being an e-girl making thousands of dollars.
I mean, here's what I would say truly about the e-girl aspect and making money. I honestly have no issue with it in the sense that, like, if it's what makes you happy and you are being safe and you can be lucrative, safe, I mean, okay. I have no issue with it. I mean, it's more power to you. For anyone that feels forced into that, or for the people that are very negative and abusive, like even just through chats, I don't like that. Like we talked about, this is a podcast of positivity. I don't like people that hide behind keyboards and just troll because they can, or because for whatever. I don't like that aspect. What I would say though that is just weird for me about Twitch is when Twitch started, in my mind, it was purely for games. It was like, I want to see this new game, but I don't want to
Yes.
buy it yet, and I just want to see someone play it. Or I like, as an example, at our school, we started an esports team, and they played League of Legends, and I know what League is, but I know nothing about League, nothing. And I was like,
I still
I
don't
need
know
to
what's
see
going on.
people play it and talk about it and stuff. And so Twitch was a great platform for that. I really appreciate that. And I feel like Twitch has definitely evolved into this world where there still is a lot of that. That's still its main bread and butter. But you also now have people that are just like crafting on Twitch and that are kind of riding the line of what is against the user guidelines for Twitch. Like this would be the kind of the hot tub category kind of stuff.
Or the body. Have you seen the body painters? On
I've
Twitch?
heard of them. I've not seen them. I mean, I don't watch Twitch a whole lot, to be
Yes.
completely honest. But and I guess for that reason,
I
I should
don't
also
either,
clarify as a point of contention here. Like, I don't have a lot of say because it's not like a community I'm a hugely part of. Like, I'm not heavily invested in.
Yeah.
But I guess
Yeah.
the bottom line is, look, if they're okay with it on their platform, and again, as long as people are being safe and doing what they feel is okay, I don't really have an issue with it. I just think it's weird, like in the sense, like there are lots of other places on the internet where you can
Yeah.
satisfy that desire.
I don't. Yeah. It is
and
weird, and it's not.
I was just going to
Sorry,
finish
go
the
ahead.
last thing is the only other part that it just makes me a little bit worrisome is as I'm a dad of two daughters, right? And again, it's not a judgment thing. I really, if it's which makes you happy, if it's help providing you a living, great for you. That's awesome. But it's, if I were to tell my daughters like, hey, we're going to watch Twitch because I want to show you League of Legends, or I want to show you the new Mario game, Mario Golf, right? I want to show you, and they see another channel where it's like, why is that girl in a bikini, or like why is
yeah.
just people at the beach?
Yeah.
It's just hard to
Top
explain that,
promoted
and that's not
stream.
enough of a reason not to have it, to be clear. But it's almost the like, I would rather have almost. No, I don't want separate communities though. I mean, I like that people can do whatever they want there. It's just it's a hard problem. I think is just
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
It's It is strange. You're right. It is. Maybe we are middle aged. Gosh, dang it. It's just. It is strange. I don't know how to. What's cool is you're right. There are a lot of other cool things that I've randomly seen. Like I've seen a courier in New York riding his bike around on Twitch. Like that's cool. That's unique. Like good for it. Like that's smart. Like that's unique content. But the hot tub thing, I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
just,
I guess what I have an issue.
like you said, like you can't judge somebody for doing that because they're doing their own thing. It's just, you're right. Twitch just started out as this. Like I remember when I first heard of Twitch, I was like, why would I watch someone else play a video game? And then I found myself watching Twitch more and more, and me streaming, and it's like it's cool. I like the idea of like, it's like you're being there, sitting there with someone as they're playing a co-op game. Like you're just sitting there talking to them. I get that, but this whole thing like is just.
No, I mean,
middle-aged,
here's the other part. Just from a logistical standpoint, from Twitch's standpoint, is like, I'm sure when they originally wrote the guidelines for Twitch, they didn't even think about like, well, what if someone was playing games in their hot tub? Because you just don't, like, that's not a natural connection that we make in stuff. And so, when creators get demonetized or kicked off the platform or suspended, I totally understand why they're upset. Like, that's totally legit, right? But then the question is like, so how do we deal with this? Do we just ban them forever and they can never do that? And then we become a villain, or do we create guidelines, or do we say like, look, we're going to allow it, but we're going to create this separate category, which it sounds like that's what they're doing, because it's just, how do you moderate that? I mean, it's like any social media, whether that's like the Facebooks and Instagrams or YouTube, Twitch, or even just podcasting, like at some point there's just so much new content all the time that you can't moderate it. And so you have to just either cut it out, and that creates its own set of problems, or you have to do your best to kind of not segregate it, but at least designate it to a certain space so that you can try to create like filters for people. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I feel for Twitch, honestly. That's a hard problem. And the other part is like the hot tub thing is like, if we do an episode in a hot tub, right, it is clearly not the same thing as like an e-girl doing it. You know what I'm saying? But should we be banned? But should we be banned from doing that because we're just two silly dudes like that are broing it up?
Why is it not the same?
I mean,
what do you mean?
Well, I'm very sexy, but I don't want to say it to your face.
We're doing
You
it.
know what I'm saying about you with your shirt off.
Wait, what did you say?
I was making a joke about us taking our shirts off in the hot tub there.
Well, but why is it any different if we were doing it? Like, if they're gonna have this category now, I really do think we should do a stream from the hot tub. Like, why is it weird for us to do
I think
it?
that's just a logistical nightmare.
We'll have to watch this and monitor and see how Twitch deals with this, Jose. I thought it was interesting, but the more I think about it, the more I get angry. So let's move on. Let's go to reader mail. That was the news, you guys. Reader mail, fan of the show, number 2 fan, N7 Endorsement writes in this week, and I think Chipobear saw this. He says, "Hey guys, I've been really enjoying Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and I want to bring up the first major controversy in XRT history. I love the new controls for the Mako and the vehicle combat now. Please let me know what you think about this crazy statement. Along with that, when is too soon to make a remake of a game? What about a remaster? Think about The Last of Us 2 rumors recently, the Resident Evil 2 remake, Final Fantasy 7 remake, etc. Thank you, N7 Endorsement, for that suggestion." So, Chipobear, you haven't played the Legendary Edition, so let me just start off by saying this. They slightly tweaked the Mako. Basically, it's supposed to be more like Andromeda. Let me just tell you right now, I'll just save everybody's time. Andromeda feels so much better, and his controls, it's not even the same. It's still, Andromeda is great. The Mako still is terrible in Mass Effect 1, and I don't like it. And it is better, but saying it's fun and you like this in N7 Endorsement, you're crazy. Chance, you're crazy. The Mako still sucks. It's terrible, and I hate it. I hate every time I'm on that. The aiming is a lot better. You actually like zoom in, and it makes it easier. But it was because it was so god awful in the originals. Like on Insanity, you would just get lit. I would literally have to stay back and just, it was terrible. But like in this game, it makes it a little bit better. So as far as the Mako is concerned, it's still terrible. I hate the Mako, and Andromeda did this. This is one thing that Andromeda did way better, and the controls were way better. So, Chipobear, you don't have to address that because you haven't played it. But I am interested to hear what you think about this question. When is too soon to make a remake of a game or a remaster? What do you think about that?
I honestly don't. I don't like to live in a world of absolutes, to be fair. Let me start with that always, you know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
I don't think that there's ever
Mantra?
it's too soon to have something. What I would say is a smart move though is either between generations of a console or between generations of a game. And so here's what I mean by that. So if let's say that Resident Evil 3 came out and like let's just say like this year, just for an example, because I'm trying to use examples in my head, and
The original. This is like the first time Resident Evil 3 has ever came out.
correct, like with Nemesis, right? It still had the old control system where you're like it was back and forward and you're turning with the other stick, right? It was very awkward still, and that was part of the appeal of the game. But let's just say that's what it was. And then let's say even a year and a half or 2 years later, that RE4 comes out with a brand new controller scheme that really everybody loved because it was just like it fluid. It made the game more. You felt like you were actually in control as opposed to just kind of panicking and stuff. If at that point people said, "Man, I wish we could have played 3 with this control system," and then maybe even a year after that they release a remake of 3, I don't think that's too soon because I would play that game. Like I would love to do that. And so, I mean, so the other part is like, think about Final Fantasy VII when it came out for the first PlayStation, right? The super blocky graphics. I wouldn't have hated to play it again on the PS2 or the PS3 or the PS4. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I loved the game so much. I don't think it's too much. And here's what I would also say, just as a food for thought here, is think about any sports game that has a year after year comparison. That is basically a remake on a yearly schedule.
Not the same. Okay, keep going.
So I don't think it's too soon. I mean, I think it's smart. Like I said, you need some big factor though. So like if they released Resident Evil 3,
okay,
and then the next year they were like, we're gonna remaster it again, and we're gonna remaster it again. We're like, okay, that's like
exactly
not
that
enough
would
time.
be Madden. That's the difference. Okay, I like that, a big factor. But I want to hear your thoughts though. The Last of Us 2 has been rumored, or not Last of Us 2. The Last of Us, sorry, has been rumored the recently to for PlayStation, but to be remade. Okay.
Yeah.
Chipobear, didn't The Last of Us just come out in 2013?
Yeah, but dude, 2018 was 8 years
Okay,
ago.
okay, I know, but at the same time, it also had an HD like remaster for PS4, like in what 2 years or something like that. What has significantly changed to re? Why would you make that game again? Like, I just don't get it. Like, what has drastically changed? Like, that game is still perfectly playable.
You're right, but I mean,
It does feel a little old, actually, some
I
of
mean,
it,
what
but
I would say is just what I think is smart to do if you're going to do a remaster is to do it immediately ahead of a sequel release. Like, I think what would have been smart for them to do, is it Naughty Dog? Is Naughty Dog Last of Us 2? Right? For them to say, we're going to do a remaster of 1, and it's going to come out 6 months before we release 2.
okay. But what do you mean by remaster? Like, okay, remaster is just
So,
get high
so,
resolution,
so,
high frame rates, or do you like a remake, like Resident Evil 2 was, like the Resident Evil 2 that just came out in the three to the PS1 and PS2
I would
versions?
say ahead of a sequel, do a remaster because you want the same
Okay.
storyline to run through because you don't want to alternate choices and stuff like that. A remake, I mean, I guess I wouldn't even tie it to a sequel because that's gonna make people upset. Well, like, why did you're telling two different stories here? I mean, I guess as a solid number, I mean, I would give it at least a year in between a remake, maybe 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying? I guess
So,
again,
so you're saying we just played Gears 5 like a year or two ago. We can remake that.
sure. If you had if you, but again,
We just fundamentally disagree on
if you
this.
had, I told you, you have to have a generational change that's significant, whether it's graphics updates or control updates or something like that. Gears 5 has not had that. If theoretically, like, let's say Gears 5 came out on, I mean, it did, on the Xbox One, and then they're like, we're going to remake Gears, a remake, right? So slightly different story, different outcomes, that kind of stuff, and this new added element for the Series X, like, that's not totally out of the realm of possibility. Again, I'm not a big Gears guy. I probably wouldn't play. For people that were super into it, think about it this way: for a game that you love, like a story or a franchise that you love, you would pay anything to keep playing that story. That's why DLCs are so popular, right? It's like when you finish Assassin's Creed games, people pay for the DLCs because they're like, I want more of this, I want more of this. And the studio, you can't just you can't do that. That's too much content to put out. So I think that remasters are a way to harness that. Like, that's just, I
Okay.
mean,
Maybe that's okay, but you're right. Like, I am a very appreciative of the Mass Effect Legendary remake. To be fair, that game also came out originally in 2007, which is a little bit further than
yeah.
2013. But remasters are okay. You're basically re-releasing the game. You're getting better resolution, better frame rates. I'm not so
Concerned. Yeah.
down on that. But at the same time, my counter argument would be that would be, look at what FPS boost on Xbox is doing. Like, your backwards compatibility, you can put in games now and get 60 FPS and your games are essentially being remastered automatically for you through the console because it's much more powerful. Why can't we just do that? Why do you have to re-release the game and charge us for it versus that route?
So,
And then I guess with the Last of Us, they want to remake it.
you just don't like The Last of Us. That's what this comes down to. You just don't like that
Well,
franchise.
you're right. I'm not the
And
biggest Last
I'm
of
not
Us
either,
fan.
but I'm
It
just
just,
saying.
but okay. Then I guess the other argument would be, why not just make us a new Last of Us game? Why are you remaking the first game? Would you rather have that, Chipotle? Would you rather have a remake of the first game, or would you rather play a new game to continue on the story, or even do a prequel? How cool would it be to do a prequel of The
Okay.
Last of Us? That to me makes more
So
sense.
here,
Like, that would be cool. Show me what happened when Joel is just pissed off about losing his. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to say anything for that time in between.
so here's what I would. Here's the only argument I have against that. And again, I don't know. This is my question. You could ask Indoorsman. Is so. Do you remember? This is a little spoiler about Halo, but not really. Do you remember when the Master Chief was no longer with us, right? And we were moving forward because we were like, oh, we got to do something different. He's gone. That was a huge blow to all of us, right? Like, we just loved the Master Chief. At that point in our lives, we would have done anything else to have another game with the Master Chief, because the characters are what matter, right? It's just like with Commander Shepard, even, right? In N7 world, right? In Mass Effect, is like, when you know that he's gone,
Don't spoil
you're
it.
fine. You would do anything.
I'm not fine.
You
I'm
would
not
do
saying.
anything to play with him specifically again, and you cannot do that unless you do a remake. Do you see what I'm saying?
Not true. You could do a prequel. There, you could do.
Yeah, but you can't do a prequel with
I
him
get
and
it.
everyone
Like,
else. You're not going to have Garrus and
but here,
Liara and Rex and everybody there too, because that's not how prequels work.
but okay, they haven't remade Halo 1. They've only remastered
Yeah.
it. They upraise it. Like remake, I guess I have more of a problem with remaking game, not necessarily remasters.
Yeah, no,
You
I
see what I'm
know.
saying? Like I don't to me, I would rather you give me something original and new because The Last of Us 1 was already a good game. Like it's I personally don't think it's this masterpiece or this great game that some people are obsessed with over, but I still think it was I respect that it was a good game, and I just guess I don't see the need to do that story again, but just make the combat better and make it look so much prettier and maybe add some story beats. I don't know. I guess I'm more old school when it comes to this. Like remastering, I don't have a problem with. Like if you can make it run and look better on the console, by all means do that. Like I think that's great. But remaking a game, to me, I don't know. I would just make me a new game with that within that with those characters, right?
No,
Am I
I mean,
crazy?
but you're
Maybe
also
I don't
remember
know.
we're also
Maybe.
talking a pretty small percentage of games here. Like outside of Last of Us and Resident Evil and Mass Effect, there really haven't been a ton of remakes. There's
Well, it's
remasters,
not.
a lot of
What do you think
remasters.
about? Yeah, okay. So a remake. What do you think about the Final Fantasy VII remake? Like, I feel like that makes sense. That game came out what 1990, like
It was a
seven
long
or something.
97,
Like,
I think it was 97.
this makes a lot of sense. Like, you are completely. And I hear
No,
like, have you played it?
because it's on PlayStation. I haven't played it.
So, yeah. So I hear. Well, yeah, and it should be on Xbox by now. The year is up. Still waiting. Square Enix. Maybe they'll blow. That'll be on Game Pass or something. But imagine
That'd
if
be
that was.
amazing.
That'd be crazy. That game is old and a lot of people haven't played it. Yes, I think it's appropriate to completely remake and modernize that game so more people can play it. But then it's like, well, who decides on if a game needs to be remade? Like you're like Resident Evil 4 and the Resident Evil 2s. You're right. It is only select franchises at this point. I guess it's just evolving. Sorry, what did you think about 7? Sorry, I kind of cut
No,
you off
I mean, I
there.
haven't played the new one, to be fair. I loved it. Here's what I would say.
Yeah.
When I think about remastering or remaking, I would never play a game I didn't like anyway. So like it's like if I it's like I don't really care. Again, I have no stake in the game. But what I would say is there were games in our childhood that were so formative to us, right? Resident Evil was that for me, Final Fantasy was that for me.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
my own children or my students,
Was The
no,
Last of
it wasn't
Us?
for me. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't for someone else. But those games were so formative that I would love for one day for Penelope to play Final Fantasy VII. But here's the thing: if I give her the port of the PlayStation 1,
That
she
was
would be like, "Dad,
1997.
are you mad at me? Like, are you
This.
upset that I've done something?" Because it just that doesn't maintain. And so I really appreciate Square Enix in this case, or whatever studio it is, for saying like, "Look, we can give this gift to a whole new generation of people." By either remastering it or remaking it. And what's I think why they chose to remake it was because not only can this new generation enjoy that whole world and those characters and that storyline, but I can also enjoy it because even though I know kind of where the story's going to go, there are going to be new elements that they add in addition to, of course, the updated graphics and controls and stuff. And so I appreciate those kind of things. And again, if a studio did something that I just don't care about, like, I mean, I guess it doesn't really bother me. I
The
mean, the
Last of
only
Us
time that it would
remade.
maybe upset me, but theoretically, is if it was a studio that had a different franchise that I want them to focus on, and they weren't because they were focusing on a remake. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, like if it was
Yeah.
like we're like if Bethesda said, or yeah, Bethesda said we're gonna do the original Fallout, a remake, and I was like, I don't care about the original Fallout. Like I want you if you redid like
I think that'd be a great.
if I 3 or New Vegas or even 4 at this point, I would be okay with. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Because I played those games, but I also would love
Yeah.
a Fallout 5. You know
I
what I'm
hear
saying?
you.
So
I hear you. But again, I think you're arguing. I think we're
Yeah.
in agreement. Like, I agree. I would want more people to experience these games, but those games are also 20 years old. So that makes more sense to me. You're right. I think I just have a problem with The Last of Us.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me, is what I just wanted to say. Like, it doesn't need to be remade. It already was a good game. It's not that old. Like, some new persons can't just experience it and play it well on a PS4 or PS5. You can play that game on PS5 and it will run great right now. Yes, it's a little clunky. Yes, you have to carry on that stupid ladder or move. Like, remember you had to move like boards to walk
Yeah.
across? It was so bad sometimes. But you don't need to remake. I would much rather Naughty Dog, if they're going to keep making stupid, first of all, Last of Us games already as it is,
They will.
make make a prequel. Like, you can make a lot of interesting stories in that world. You don't need to remake the first game. I know I'm going off on Last of Us. It's overrated, you guys. Moving on to the good old days. Let's just get back on track here. Chipobear, you're gonna appreciate this. I just want to give a personal shout out to A-Biddy Doggy,
Great to hear his
a
name.
good friend of ours. Baka actually did. I told him about the podcast. I don't know if I told you this, Jose. I told him that we recorded it, and he went out and listened to it, and he loved the episode with me, and he said he was getting all crazy nostalgic over Blood Gulch.
Man.
So I just want to give a shout out to him.
Shout out to Aaron.
So Baka
Good to hear
writes
from you,
in.
buddy.
Shout out. Baka, I appreciate you listening. He says, "Hey guys, I really enjoyed listening to the memories about Halo and Blood Gulch from our high school gaming days. I hope you all are well and cannot wait to get some LAN parties going up again with you guys soon. I want to know what your top 5 favorite original Xbox games are. Love the pod. Keep up the good work. Much love, Baka." Well, thank you so much, Baka. Much shout out to A-Biddy. Baka, we are going to give our top 5 OG Xbox games. I'm going to let Chipotle take it first here because I'm interested to hear his
So
list.
I, to be fair to the listeners, just to be very clear, I hit 4 right away when I saw this question. Like, no problem, bam, bam, bam. And then 5, there were a couple like that I thought of, but I needed to verify they were on the original Xbox. Because again, it's just like, this is part of being middle-aged, as my argument said at the beginning. This is like my life bleeds together, and I can't remember what came out when, because it's been a long time. I've been gaming since I was 7, literally almost 30 years, almost 3 decades. So number 5 on my list is Ninja Gaiden Black. So Ninja Gaiden was a great NES game, right? Like, you jumping through the trees, and it was a classic game, and they finally remade it for Xbox in at the time beautiful 3-dimensional rendered world, and it was actually very, very challenging because it was the kind of game where to like slash your sword was a single button press, but then when you get into like combos and stuff, it was very ahead of its time. And I mean, they had like time trials and stuff. Great game. So Ninja Gaiden, number 5. Number 4 for me was Tiger Woods PGA Tour. And I would say it was either the 2004 or 5.
I would have never thought
argue
that.
The 2004 one. Because it was one of the first games where like you got to customize your character so you could like look like yourself, and within their very limited parameters at the time. But just like, man, you don't think that you can get sucked into a golf game, especially if you don't play golf a lot. Like, I don't play golf a whole lot. But man, it's just like, it's a relaxing game. It's not stressful like an action game. And if at the time when you could do couch co-op, right?
It's
so
satisfying when you get a good shot.
18 holes, man. 4 hours. Yeah. You get the birdies and stuff. Like, it's great games. I really appreciate the franchise. So that was number 4. Number 3 for me, Fusion Frenzy. We talked about it last time. Just like, so nostalgic for the competition, the 4-player multiplayer. Just like good old fashioned fun. It was kind of like also at the same time Mario Party was out too. So it was like almost like Microsoft's response to Mario Party at the time. So like, love Fusion Frenzy.
Yeah,
then the last 2, I went back and forth. The last 2 of mine are Halo and Halo 2. Those are going to be my top 1 and 2. I'm going to put,
of course,
I had to think a lot. I'm going to put Halo 2 as my number 2. And I had the exact same experience. I heard you describe. I think it was on episode 1 of the podcast where you were like at the midnight relaunch.
Well, yeah,
I
we're going to
remember
talk
being
about
at the
it.
GameStop.
A-Biddy makes another appearance.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't get the game till probably like 12:30, and I still went home and I had to pop it in and load it and play it. And you hear the classic like choir song, oh, right, like that. was amazing and a great game. But the reason I had to put Halo, the reason I had to put Halo 1 first was just like when it. So being fully honest, when I bought my first Xbox, that was not in the first crop of games I bought. And granted, no one knew what Halo was, right? It was one of the launch games, but it was a new idea for them. Eventually played it, and it was a lot. I mean, it was fun, like a cool story. Loved that it was aliens in the space. The ring thing was really, like the actual Halo was a cool added element to like the science fiction world. But obviously, what made it was the multiplayer. But where it really came cool for me was in college, and so these you youngins don't totally understand this, but in my college, our whole dorm was basically one giant network. So like literally like a not a server, but a local area network was actually our dorm, but it was a relatively small dorm. And so by plugging my Xbox into the wall in my room, I could play online, quote unquote, against the guy literally across the hall from me. And why that was so crucial at the time was because when you used to play multiplayer games on a screen and you have the dissect screen like that, you can cheat.
Screen
right?
watching.
Like if you know where the rooms are enough that you can say like, oh, he's in this place, you can go hunt him. And so it was incredible because I could be in my room with the door open and they could be in their room with the door open, and we could literally talk to each other and talk trash to each other and yell at each other, but we couldn't see each other's screens. And I mean, oh my God, the hours that we enjoyed doing that. And one of the other coolest factors about the original Halo was that when you're playing on a local area network, you could change your name every game. So you could literally like change the name of your like Halo tag. And so because we were super nerdy, we used to literally like yell like, what's our theme? And someone would say like Marvel heroes. And so everyone would pick a different Marvel hero. So it'd be like, you just got shot by Spider-Man. You just got shot by Wolverine.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it was an incredible experience. So that's my list in order: Ninja Gaiden, Tiger Woods, Fusion Frenzy, Halo 2, and Halo 4. Xbox, and then honorable mentions that I also thought about were Project Gotham Racing. It predated the Forza, but it was a great game. It was really like meant to push the graphics. And then Conker's Quest, which was a remake of the Nintendo 64 Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is hilarious and very wildly inappropriate, but a cool game. So those are my honorable mentions. What about you, man? What were your top 5?
Nice, Chipobear. I have to admit, I never played Ninja Gaiden, but I've heard, or Gaiden, how do you say it?
I say Ninja Gaiden. That's probably incorrect, though.
Ninja Gaiden. Sorry, no, it's okay. Ooh, we got a little bit of delay now. Thanks, Allie and my in-laws' internet here. So I never played it, but I hear it's phenomenal. So I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. Fusion Frenzy, yeah, I can't put it in my top, but it's definitely up there. We did play that a lot with Baxter. Kind of already mentioned that. Splinter Cells. Did you play any of the original Splinter Cells, Jose? I don't know if you did. Wow, amazing games.
I think I played the first one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I loved there. Speaking of co-op, there was online co-op on that, and I'll never forget me and Alan playing together, like sneaking around. Like one had like blue goggles, one had the red ones. Amazing being able to sneak around and take people out on that. And then Fable. I never played Fable on the original Xbox. I actually played that on Xbox One X through backwards compatibility, but I figured I should put it on there. And then I know I never played the Elder Scrolls Morrowind, and Miso Pony would be very, very disappointed in that. So I'm sorry, Pony. I put it on there just for you because that's Miso Pony is still playing Morrowind to this day and streaming it on his Xbox Series X. So moving on to my top 5. Number 5 is right here. Bear. And I don't know if you noticed, Chipobear, can you see what's up behind me on the stairs? Can you see what's over there?
I see the original Xbox. I see it back there.
There we go. Good, the original Xbox. We got in the
that big
basement
green disc in the middle. That's how I noticed it.
In my in-laws' house here as Paul's old Xbox, Allie's brother. So I found that in a closet down here in the basement. And this is one of my favorite games right here, Conflict Desert Storm, you guys. Many people have heard of this gem, but as you can see, it was a platinum hit. So that means a lot of people bought this and played this. This was a 1 to 4 player co-op game, and you are, just like the title says, you are an army man. You are a Delta Force in Desert Storm. And basically, I have so many memories of playing this with Cedo and Jack, and they would be the cool. Cedo was always stupid Eagle Eye, the sniper. Jack was always the cool machine gunner guy, and they always stuck me as Jones, the medic. And I had the worst guns, and it was just terrible. They'd always just put me as the worst guy. But this was amazing co-op, Jose. I don't know if you ever played this, but this is a great game. They had a sequel for it too, so shout out Conflict. Why don't we have another one of these? And then I was gonna say number 4 would be any of the Maddens that came out at the time. Like I'm looking, he also has my microphone stand right here. Is Madden 2003 right here. We were obsessed with Madden. We had so many co-op franchises together, and again back in 2003 or whatever it was, it could be me, Jack, and Cito playing on the same franchise for the same team. But for some reason, we can't do that today in modern consoles. So thanks, EA, on that one. Number 3 would be the original Ghost Recon. That was the first online game I think I ever played on Xbox. And I wrote on here the notes. It says, Pen Dog, where are you? Pen Dog was like this probably 37-year-old man. I mentioned this in my first episode, that would play with me, and he kind of like got me into the online gaming. And I just remember playing with these old guys like every like night or every weekend at a certain time, and that was like literally the beginning of me playing online with people, and I'll never forget that. I'll never forget Pen Dog. Like it's crazy. And then like similar to you, I had Halo 2 and then Halo 1, and the reason I put Halo 1 as number 1 was just because Halo blew my mind. Like that game just blew, like you said, it taught us how to play FPS games, and it was just such an amazing game to play. Like memories playing with you. Okay, let me go back to 2. So 2, like you said, I already shared that story. I just want to shout out one more time, Aaron Baca. You came out from CSU to wait with us at EB Games.
To
I'll
Boulder.
never forget when when you came down to Boulder. We waiting to get Halo. We getting back at like 2-3 a.m. Getting online. You're like, I'm gonna play, and then I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I leave, go to bed, go to class, and come back at like 3 the next day, and he was still playing like nonstop, just playing 12 hours straight, something ridiculous like that. And then Halo 1, like you mentioned, having LAN parties at Baca's house, having LAN parties wherever you could, playing co-op. That was another game that you could have 4-player co-op, and just what an amazing game. Like got me into shooters. Like I didn't even know what a shooter was, obviously, until Halo came out. So shout out to the OG Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2 number 2, Ghost Recon number 3, Madden number 4, and Conflict Desert Storm. Shout out to A-Biddy for the excellent question. Thank you for writing in and being featured. Chipobear. Oh,
Thanks,
the other
buddy.
thing I wanted to show you were a couple more secrets. So this is also was a fun one. I don't know if you remember Simpsons Road Rage.
Oh
Is
my
this the
god,
one?
it was
I
like
don't,
Crazy Taxi. Yeah.
is that what was the one where like it was like a Grand Theft Auto Simpsons game? Was that this or was that a different one?
Yeah, it was that one. It was that
I
one.
can't remember. Oh, it was. Okay. And then also, okay, there's Halo 2 right there. Of course, it's right here. And then, Chapo.
Beautiful.
Dude, get a load of this thing, Chapo. This is much bigger than I remember. For
That thing
you
is
audio listeners,
giant.
dude, Chapo, I'm holding this thing. I'm holding the original Xbox controller. You guys, it's bigger than I remember, Chipotle. That's what she said. Like, I'm not even kidding. This thing, huge, dude. Like, it's, it really is like a
Oh my
steering
god,
wheel.
I forgot about the memory card slots on the top. Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah, it's on the top, dude. Dude, I'm like genuinely shocked, Jose, at how large this is. And then here's for comparison. They've got the S too conveniently. I got to give a shout out to Microsoft right at the beginning. The triggers, they were ahead of the game with these things. These triggers still feel good, which is incredible. But like, I'm trying to show the camera. Of course, I've got my crappy camera. Look at the size difference in this, dude. Like, I can't even fit them on. I can't even fit the OG on the screen
Oh
because
my
it's just so
god.
massive, dude. Dude, it is. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so here's what's really gonna blow your mind. I have the Elite, right? I'm not even kidding you, Jose. The Elite is probably like half the size of the OG
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Xbox controller. It is wild,
How's the
dude.
weight?
Holding this light, surprisingly. Like it's not like it's nothing
There's not a
compared
lot
like
internally.
because this yeah, it's really not like and like holding the Elite controller. The Elite controller has some heft to it, and I like it, dude. This thing is not heavy at all. Actually, I'm holding it. It's just thick, man. Like these bumps right here. Oh my god, dude. I can see how people might like this though, but it is like I'm shocked. Like I forgot how massive this thing was. So shout out to the OG, the Duke
That's an awesome
controller.
find, man.
But yeah, but I much rather prefer the new Elites. It's so dang comfortable, dude. They've come a
Yeah,
long way. But
of course.
shout out to the S controller too. Still very comfortable though. Like they made the right choice there. So I just wanted to share those controllers with you guys and give a shout out to the OG hardware there. So by the way, the Duke controller much bigger than you remember. The joke is not a joke. It's all facts. Chipobear, let's close the show here. Did you have any closing thoughts that you wanted to talk about, or are you good?
No, I don't have any closing thoughts in terms of it. I in terms of just production notes as we talk about the structure of the show, we might need to start limiting the news stories because I think we did like 6 or 7, and that was like we were like an hour into the news stories, so we might need to do like 1 or 2. But
We'd spend
in
an
general
hour
news,
on
no,
it.
you know, just
I mean,
just yeah, I was watching
I
the
just want
timer.
to point out though. I just want to point out though, but like we're on hour 40. We were about this length last time, so like we're right on time as far as like how long we recorded last week. I just want to point that out. I think our last episode was like an hour and 40 minutes.
No, no, I agree. I agree with you that it's we're about the same time as before. I would just say
You
that
just think we spent too
for
much?
people that listen to lots of podcasts, having like a 90-minute podcast every week, even though it's great content, it's just a lot of time for people that gotta burn through lots of
Yeah,
stuff. So just a
I
thought.
know. Like,
No, other than that, just it's end of school year feels good for summer. Summer gaming sessions are coming up. I'm super pumped.
okay. Are you buying anything else, or you're doing Resident? You're finishing Resident Evil 8, and then I think you said Outriders and Mass Effect. That's kind of your plan.
No, I mean I'll finish RE8 and then I'll do Mass Effect, and if I can find time in there to reconnect with Chance or maybe with you, and do Outriders, I'll definitely do that. And then once I get through Mass Effect, then I'll probably get pretty deep into Cyberpunk and finally get through that.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I will again try. I gotta beat Control, you guys. I gotta beat Mass Effect. That's on my list. And thankfully, Chipobear is right. The backlog without these new releases, we can chip away at that. So, with that, uh, and I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I guess when I listen to some of these other shows, Chipobear, they go long, man. They go like 3 hours or 2.5 hours or 2 hours. And I originally like I want to do like an hour, but like I have no problem going maybe between like an hour to an hour and a half. So I'll try to do a better job. And I kind of was ranting about this trip, but I just needed to express, just have some empathy from you, but also share some real. These are the cold hard facts that our listeners need to hear because a lot of them don't have kids, or maybe they do, and then
Yeah,
they
it's
can
that dad
appreciate it,
life
or
for real.
I'm just this is like I was just giving you guys, you know, the truth about having kids and going on these trips. So, Chipobear, thank you so much for joining. I'm exhausted. It's 1:15 Big Apple, 1:15 a.m. over here.
Always, man. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna pass out here. I wanted to play video games. I can't even function anymore. I just realized I drove like 10 hours the past, on 6 hours of sleep. So thank you so much for joining us. Joe Bear, please, where can we
Always,
find
guys.
you on social media?
You can find me at Chipotle Bear on Instagram and Twitter. Always feel free to reach out with questions or thoughts and your feedback, of course. We're always open to feedback. And hopefully, just play games make you happy, man.
Absolutely.
That's what games are for. And hopefully we said some stuff today that just makes you want to get on your Xbox or your PlayStation and just get right in. So thanks for listening.
Thank you guys. And as always, you can reach us at xboxrecordthis.com or xboxrecordthis, all one word, on various social media. And you can find me at Daddy Duwally. And as always, See you online.
See you guys.
Xbox Record This is a podcast created by Daniel Walenzik. You can follow him at Daddy Diwali on Twitter. You can also follow the show at Xbox Record This on Twitter and various social media. You can also find out more at xboxrecordthis.com.